So I'm going to speak about data discoverability, or an aspect of data discoverability. You've just heard a lot about different methods of finding data on PANGAEA website. However, in order to complete the picture about discoverability, I'd like to shortly talk about metadata dissemination to third-party portals. And also try to bridge to alternative ways to assess and integrate with PANGAEA data. Yeah, data sets published with PANGAEA are ideally referenced in the related articles of peer-reviewed journals. So they may be traced from there as well. But we also actively exchange metadata with publishers and metric systems to simplify cross-linking of data and articles, and also to make the crediting work. Metadata records are also actively harvested by a range of data aggregators, like, for example, DataCite, OpenAir, and AmodNet, and also by general search engines like Google and its dedicated data set search feature. And the third group is a wide spectrum of community and project-specific data portals. Most of them are also harvesting PANGAEA metadata to make them available to their projects and communities. And yeah, with some of them, we have specifically close collaborations. One of them is GFBio e.V., the Gemeinschaft für biologische Daten, or the German Federation for Biological Data. GFBio provides a guided submission system for multifaceted biodiversity studies and kind of mediates the publication of compounds of that study to specialized data repositories. For the ecological and environmental aspects, this service is provided by PANGAEA. And accordingly, a whole range of relevant studies are also present in their dedicated search portal. And another example is the Marine Data Portal that provides interesting perspectives and ways of access to marine data, including data published in PANGAEA. But this is the story that our guest is here to tell today.
Okay, thank you very much for having me. So this talks about the DAM, the German Marine Research Alliance, and the German Marine Data Portal. But actually, when I was rehearsing, I thought it is. Of course, I'll talk about this and present this, but actually, it's also about the benefit and the added value of data management. So cool things we can do with data that is in PANGAEA. So it's really also a sort of motivation to publish data with PANGAEA, because once it's in there, it's super cool to work with. But first about the alliance itself. So it was founded in 2019 with 13 members by the marine research community, as well as the federal government and 5 northern German states. The government, or the BMBF, so the Federal Ministry for Education and Research, as well as the northern German states, fund the DAM. The member institutions, which are by now 24, are located in the northern German states, the red dots. I'd like to ask you, maybe can you raise your hand if you are affiliated with one of the institutions shown in the map? This would just help me, and maybe you, to understand that you're part of this alliance. And I could see actually how many people I am reaching out to. But of course, there will be a focus in what I will tell you now on the marine realm. However, data management allows the things that I will show you today also in any other scientific realm. All right. The alliance itself focuses on 4 core areas, which are research, transfer, data management, and digitalization, as well as the coordination of infrastructure. Today, I'll talk only about the core area, data management and digitalization. And it's very simple. So it was a political decision together with the leaders of the science institutions to found the DAM. And one of the major goals is to provide fair and open data from the marine science community. So it is really a high-level decision to go for this. Now, under the umbrella of the Alliance, we try to coordinate the community towards this. So my presentation today is part of this effort to promote and to provide fair and open data from the marine science community. So we have a couple of goals in this core area and for the entire Alliance, which are listed here. So first of all, we said, okay, we need a sort of concept to give access or to provide fair and open data from the entire community. So one of my duties is really to coordinate in that sense. And the goal is to facilitate the access to the decentralized data sets. So we have many institutions. Not every institution provides the data to PANGAEA. Some have own repositories. And we try to sort of gather this data and give access to it through the Marine Data Portal, which is one of the last goal here is to develop such a portal, which is the Marine Data Portal, to give access to the data. Now, the goal consolidating existing repositories, this actually means mainly to promote PANGAEA, because it's a perfect place to publish data. And instead of using thousands of different repositories, which many of them are not able to really provide fair access to, or fair and open access to data, well, we said we have PANGAEA in the community. 2 of our member institutions are operating PANGAEA. Let's use PANGAEA to provide the data, which is why PANGAEA is one of our major partners to in the core area data management and digitalization. Now, of course, in marine science, vessels play a major role. So we try to give systematic access to data from ship expeditions, and we develop guidelines and standards so that the data is afterwards also machine readable and can be implemented in data products, which are also provided via the Marine Data Portal, which I'm going to present soon. And all of this is, of course, a national effort in order to link our German marine science data to European and international platforms. All right, so now after 5 years of having this core area, this sketch sort of shows the data ecosystem that we managed to set up in the meanwhile. We have 2 major data initiatives in the marine realm, which is one is the project underway research data, which focuses on data from expeditions from the German marine research vessels. It is a showcase to provide fair and open data, because here we've really managed to set up systematically all the data flows needed in order to provide all the information and metadata to the data coming from the vessels. The Data Hub is an initiative from the Helmholtz institutions, which are member of the DAM, so AVI, GEOMA, and Hereon, and they provide, or they have in the research field Earth and Environment, a similar goal. They want to provide fair and open data. Now they have a lot of data infrastructure that the marine institutions from the Helmholtz research field Earth and Environment offer to the DAM member institutions to use. And one of these infrastructures is the Marine Data Portal, which is where we try to give the central access to the research data from the marine community. Now, as you can see here already, PANGAEA is one of our major partners. As I said, the repository that we try to push our members to provide the data to. And as a whole, this is a effort from the marine science community and a contribution to the NFDI, the National Research Data Infrastructure. You may have heard about. I'm not going to go into detail on that. But what I'm going to try to do now is to show you what we did concerning the data coming from the vessels and how we try to ease and facilitate the findability through the marine data portal. Right, so this is a sort of complicated slide. If you look at it for the first time, I'll lead you through it or point out the major points. So what we managed to do is actually set in the title. We have harmonized data flows for the German marine research vessels. So for the large vessels, the data flow is managed in an identical manner. We have an infrastructure on board, collect the data, transfer it on land, have a so-called DAM space where the data is stored first, where people have access to the data in order to do the quality control. So experts in oceanography and other disciplines, once they did the quality control, they provide the data to PANGAEA. And from there on, it is actually already findable in marine data. Now, through this close collaboration between the people doing the quality control and PANGAEA, we managed to develop the standards and guidelines so that visualization in marine data, in the marine data portal, gets semi-automatically done. And I'll show you some examples, and I cannot show you all the examples because there are so many, but I'll show you a few. All right, so you see here is the front end of the marine data portal, accessible via marine-data.de. What we see here, of course, is on the front page, as I said, the research vessels play a major role since they are super important for the marine science community and a very, very, very expensive research infrastructure. What we see are in real time the locations of the vessels and the current track lines from where to where they were going. And it is just the entrance to this to the data coming from the vessels. Now in data, we have PANGAEA here as one of the repositories that are being harvested, and PANGAEA makes about 70% of the portal in total, but there are a bunch of other repositories from member institutions that we harvest. So if you search similar to what we've seen now in this search bar, you do not look only for data in PANGAEA, but also in all the other repositories. And this is sort of, if you want, so the advantage of the portal. Now, the problem is, as I said, not all of the data is in open access and is totally fair. So once it is in PANGAEA, you're certain that it is fair and open. Well, not always open, but at least that it is fair. And here you can also choose to only look in PANGAEA. So if you click on PANGAEA, you will search only within PANGAEA. So and then it becomes sort of the same thing as what we've seen before. And you have a couple of filtering options to get to the data that you actually want to go to. But I'm not going to show this because we've seen this for PANGAEA specifically. So this is very similar on this portal. On the expedition side, this is where you get a list of all the expeditions that have been running in the past. And so first there's the list, of course, the beginning and the end, where did it start, when did it start? But then you have symbols here on the right-hand side that give you a hint of whether or not there is data available. Now, these are the most recent expeditions, which is why most of the symbols are still gray. But if you go further back in the past, you will see that most of them turn to green, which means that there is data available. Now then, by clicking on this specific expeditions, you will get to the place where you can find more data. And also here, you have filter options similar to what we've seen for PANGAEA in order to focus more on the data that you want to have access to. Now, more, let's say, easier than that, or I'll go back. So what we have here is a list of expeditions, and you click to your data, you filter, and all, just as we've seen it. But easier and more convenient to find data is if you visualize it and through visualization see what kind of data is actually available where. Now, not all of the data published in Pangea can be visualized easily. So what I'm going to show you now are data and data products that have been visualized out of Pangea and elsewhere through the effort of the project itself. So there is an additional effort needed in order to visualize data, but actually once it is published in Pangea, this effort is not so much anymore. So this is really the benefit of publishing in Pangea. You can, from there on, build further data products and give user-friendly access to the data through visualization. Pretty easy. I'll show you an example. So if you click on seafloor, the seafloor viewer here, you'll see this nice map of bathymetric data from the German marine research vessels that has been collected in the past. This is not all of it. I think we managed to integrate here now maybe 5 to 10% of the data that is available in Pangea, and we're still working on providing the other historic data that has up to now not gone through the processing that is needed in order to be visualized here. But all the data that comes in from expeditions that are running now or since 2020 are automatically integrated in this product if the chief scientists allow us to do so. This is, of course, something in the end the decision of the chief scientists. Okay. However, what we show here is data integration. We integrate the data from a specific measurement system, from a specific device, which is the multi-beam, from all the vessels that Germany actually has. Now I'll focus, just to show you what this means, I'll focus on this area here. I'll show you this picture that shows you very well the advantage of having this data. So on the back, you see here data from indirect measurements from satellites, for instance. And then here, this high resolution data set, which is published in Pangea. If you click on it, you get all this information, all the meta information that you have been introduced to before. You get the DOI, you click on the link, and this is where you get to Pangea, where you can then download the data and work with it and go along with the data as we've seen before. Now, another example is if the data is not so easily to be visualized on a 2D map. This is from the ADCP device, so giving the current velocity of the water. So what we do here is we visualize in red the track lines along which we have this quality control systematically done and publication in Pangea. And we provide this first glance on the data through a PDF so that experts can actually have a look at the data and decide whether or not this is interesting for them or not. And then again, you click on show more and you get access to all the metadata and the data provided through Pangea. Again, here, DOI, and you end up with Pangea where you can get the data. And it has been said before, not only you can have access here to the data, but also to additional information like SOPs, or in this case, what I'm showing here is a data processing report. So this tells you exactly what has been done with the data so that it is really reusable in the end, and nobody needs to contact anybody, write emails or anything to understand what has actually been done with the data. So all the information is there. Now I'd like to give you one more example, if I still have time. I'll speed up a little bit. One more example on the benefit of data management and data integration. Now, the data I'm going to show you now is not all of it is actually accessible in PANGAEA, but it has been managed well, and it is accessible through other portals. And I'm going to show you this, a marine munition data compilation. Now I have to disclaim something. I'm not an expert on munition in the sea. However, I'm going to present this because we made it sort of possible that science could integrate the data I'm going to show you now. However, as I said, I'm not an expert. Questions should be then raised to other persons I can tell you the names of. So let's get into it. I'll take you to the Lübecker Bucht, Lübecker Bay, nice place. So just this picture so you can have an idea of what it looks like. So it's a nice place in Germany. And if we zoom on this area, we can now, through this portal and through this visualization that actually gives access to data from research projects, from authorities, and industry, you can integrate all this data through this data compilation. Now, what I clicked on here is the environmental data that shows you actually all the areas of natural parks, natural reserves, and so on. Basically, areas saying, okay, this is a nice place that needs to be protected, sort of. Now, you can also put in the data from authorities telling you, okay, we have actually cables here running through to the wind offshore farms, we have pipelines and so on. And a little bit less nice is that we have munition from the First and Second World War that has been dumped here. And these are the areas I just put on this. I'll go back and forth. So in these areas, we know we have munition. So this is actually less nice if we think about the tourists going there. And even less nice is when we think about the TNT concentration in the sea. So if you imagine you go swimming on the beach here, eat some mussels or fish from this area, well, it actually it gets a little chilly, I think, if you think about what is actually there in the water. Now, if you want to prioritize and decide on which of these munitions need to be taken out of the water, you also need to consider that there is a lot of traffic in the water. And this becomes then more difficult because you cannot go anytime, anywhere, and just pick up this munition and bring it on land and get rid of it. You can see here in this map that you're very close to infrastructure, you're close to the cables, you're close to the natural parks, you're close to the harbor, and so on and so on. And of course, this is not a problem that we have only in the Lübecker Bucht, but it is actually a European problem. Now I'm showing this because if we want to take as a society all of these, if we want to take decisions on how to handle this, we need to integrate all these data from authorities, from research projects, and industry. And this is just one example on how data management helps to visualize data, and from there on to take political decisions important also to society. That's my point, and I have I'll end with these short, with this little info on why data management is important and what it guarantees. Thank you very much.